Today we're going to talk about movement holders. I've been on the quest for movement holders for many years, and I've finally found the best movement holders of all holders. But first, before we get to this movement holder, let's get to the older ones. I would say that this is an old movement, so we're going to use this as our test sample movement to see whether the movement holders, that the old ones are better than the new ones. So if you go on Amazon, you can find a little plastic movement holder like this. It's very small, and you can adjust this movement holder. There's two positions for it, so there's little openings on either side, and they also have two levels here. There's a little groove there, which is one level, and then you can drop it down into this level. But these grooves, I find, are useless because it's very dangerous to put a watch in those little tiny grooves and then expect that watch to stay in position. So that's not too bad there. That's holding it fairly good. But that still has a chance. But when you're actually using a screwdriver to do work on this movement, let me just flip that over and have a look at what happens and see if I can cause the problem. I'm not worried about this particular movement. It's from lists from a bunch of Russian movements I have that I work on. And when you put any pressure on the watch on this side here, this movement is likely to do that. See that? It flips out of position. Not good at all. Now if you try to squeeze it inside the little tiny grooves in the very bottom here, there we go. When you want to do any movement, any work on any screws or whatever removing, where you got to put a little bit of pressure down on that, then you have to have the screw on this side so you can put the pressure on it. Because if you have it on this side, again, a little bit of pressure, and bam, the movement moves out of the way. So these movement holders are, I guess, okay. They're not the greatest. There's two different sizes. You can have the watch placed on this side of the movement holder here, and that's not too bad, but still issues as well. If you look at the opening here, if you look at the surface right here, and you look at where the hands are, and you turn that around, there's a chance that when the hands, if they're moving, might touch the plastic on the inside. So that's not good. It's not good. So it's a kind of crappy configuration, but it's a poor man's movement holder. So also flips around like that. So this is one version, and then we have the big metal movement holders for bigger movements. So if I grab a big movement here, get in frame here, there's a big movement. So this is a, what is it? It's a Bartlett. It's a PS Bartlett Waltham. It's got lots of jewels. It's in fairly decent condition. And if I want to hold that movement, I'm not going to squish it in there, but I just have to open this up big time. Set the bigger one here and place that movement in there. So that's, again, that's not too bad. And I've used these to work on movements before, but again, if you're working on a movement and you're putting any pressure on this side, it tends to rotate it up and flip it like that. So it makes it a little bit dangerous to work on these movements because there doesn't seem to be a lot of flat surface. So plus you can lose the claw grip on it, plus the metal just is a sharp edge metal on that side. So these are adequate. They work. Not the best, but they work. So that's the second type of movement holders. And again, you can get these in all different sizes. So size is never a problem. I don't think size matters. That's what I heard anyway once. So then I was on the another hunt for movement holders, and I found a million of these things. So if you have one of these things and you go from the bag of them, there's a bag of them, and the bag's got different sizes and everything else, and this and that and this and that and everything else. It's not bad, except, and they have a little lip here, and the lip is to catch the pocket watch on the lip. This one's not the right size, but just as an example. So you'd put that in there like that. These aren't too bad, actually, if you can find the exact right size for this. So these are old, very old. So someone probably 50 years ago came up with that. They also had wooden ones back in the day where you'd put the watch in there and there was a wooden one. You'd work on the watch like that. So that was not too bad. So these are the plastic ring movement holders. I got a whole whack of these guys. And then let me see if I can find another one here. Yep, there we go. So So this is the Marshall 4-in-1 movement holder. I think it says Marshall. Let me see if I can get a zoom on that camera here. Can I get a zoom? Can I get a zoom? Hello? Can I get a zoom? Can I get a zoom? Can I get a zoom? Oh, there we go. That's not too bad. Marshall. Marshall, that's Sheriff. No, it's Marshall. So it's a movement holder, Marshall. So if you look at this, it's got two posts which align it, and then there's the screw to tighten it, and there's a spring in the middle, and the spring's actually tight enough to keep a grip on that so it doesn't go anywhere. If you did this, as you can see, it rides along the post like so. So you take the movement, and I've got a little baby movement here that I want to put in there, and I'm not sure if this is the right size, but you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 different configurations or sizes of the movement holder. Now if I were to extend this out to its reaches of the far end of the galaxy here, let me just put that way out here. That's about the biggest watch you can put in there. Right there. Is that it? This is it? This is it. One of these two. This one or this one. It's the biggest one. So, and if you look at this, you're not going to fit this watch in here. It ain't going to work. So, that's kind of crappy. So, but if you want to put a small one in there, just move this down a bit here. Ooh, it's a race. It's a race. It's a race. And I can put that in there like that, and then close that down a bit. See if that actually works. There we go. So that's closed down, and it's in the lip. And guess what? It holds the movement in all directions. And what I like about this movement holder is it's got a rounded edges here, and the rounded edges give it more surface, so that when I push down on this side, that's not going to flip on me. I don't think it is anyway. I'd have to really push it to flip, because there's a point right here where it touches and a point right here where it touches. If you drew a line straight through that point and then you go straight down here, that's equal on both sides. So if I put pressure right in the center, then there's equal pressure on this point and this point. But if I go slightly out, there's not enough torque here to remove it from the grip it has over here on this side. So it's all physics, man. It's all physics. So if you do that, this is vectors, or as they say in Russian, vectors. This little guy is probably going to tick for me. So this is not a bad movement holder, only because of the rounded corners. So these rounded corners provide additional support. So I kind of like this movement holder. I got another one coming. They're not very expensive, probably about $30 US you can buy these for, and they take little tiny movements too. So if you've got a little baby movement, I've got a little baby watch here that I fixed for somebody. So this is a little baby pocket watch. Look at the size of that baby, and it's actually running really well. Just have to put a crystal on it. So when I worked on that, I wish I would have had this. I didn't. So I had to use this when I worked on that, because I didn't have this. So, which is kind of crappy. So that's that movement holder. So those are the main movement holders. Now I'm going to go to the Cadillac of all movement holders. Dun, dun, dun. This is the best movement holder you'll ever find. The Myers movement holder number 58 will hold all watches regardless of size, shape, or form. Your third hand. It's like a horror movie. So this is it, and as it says on the side, just move that aside, see if I can just zoom in on that. What does this see? Screw need not be turned except when half thread adjustment is desired to release the movement, or to spread movable base, press and release button D. Not button A, B, or C, but button D to insert desired jaws. Start end of jaw in respective track and turn into position. Let me explain that to you. What does this say? Save 25 to 50% off of your time by the use of this movement holder. So you can actually 25% of your time in repairing a watch can be saved by this movement holder as a minimum. I think that is crap. So there's no way you're going to save 25% of your time. Oh, there's the other side. Insert, press the thumb on the screw button A and slide the base B to the desired position to remove the left hand C. Let's just try this out. This is crap. So inside here, well, this is the basic movement holder right here. So this is it here. So, and it fits any type watch that you have. So what you have here is you have a screw here. This is, I think, A. So, and it's sprung. There's a spring inside there. So it's sprung. And then you have a little button here. And this, you press this button here, it allows you to move this side back and forth to squeeze up on your watch, right? And you can also push it without pressing the button, and it ticks. But I wouldn't do that because over time it'll wear out that little pawl that's on the inside, or your threads here. So that's kind of not the right way to do it. So you just push it and squeeze it in. So let's see if I can put this in here. Let's just try this out and see if that works. So, nope, I don't think that's the right movement holder for this. Let's just try another one here. Alrighty then, so that didn't work with this tiny movement, so what I need to do is just open that up a bit, like that, and I have to replace this here. Watch this, watch that. These slide right out. There's I guess it's called a leaf spring right here, so it's a little boing, 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 little leaf spring on there. And it slides on the bottom, and there's grooves on the side here, little grooves. So when you slide that in, as it says in on the box, you just enter it from one side like that, and you slide it in place like this. Look at that. Bam, it's in. So what I have to do is find one of these little jobby-do, my favorite term, little jobby-do attachment that will fit in there for this tiny little watch, right? Which is kind of cool. So if you look at the box, and you open the box, let's open this box up. I'm all close here. Getting close. Zoom, close, zoom, close, close. Open the box. Come on, box. There we go. Open. You see that there's a lot of little movement holders in there, so you got to pick the right ones. So let me get these movement holders out here and see if I can find the right one. So get this guy into place here again. And I'm going to look for a very small one, but not too small. So is this right? And you can just take your watch and fit it in, go, like say, holy crap, that's pretty close. So I think that's the right one. So I got to find his brother. They've got little small ones, tiny ones, and then they got tinier ones. And then I think that's his brother right there, see? So that matches up perfectly. And I've got to take this, put these guys aside, and now I just slide this in. Watch this. Slide it in from one side, it says, and then you work it in like that, and then you take the other side and you work it in like this, like that. Okay, so I got both sides slid in. I'll move that in close, and I want to ride it on the top here. So if I were working on this movement, of course I'd have to have the face off. That's like a hockey thing, right? So I'd have the face off, and I'd be putting this in with the face off and just closing it down. So if I take my little button here on this side, and I'm going to press that with my thumb as I slide that forward, right? Here, watch when I do this. So I'm holding it like that, and I go slide that forward like that. So that's now in, and I go and push it. Now you notice there's a little squeezy thing here that just loosens up here. So if I want, that's probably pretty tight. Let me see if it falls out, right? Let's see if this falls out. It does not fall out. It's also not level. So I got to bring that up a little bit, squeeze that in like that, try that again. So that did fall out. So I want to put one turn on that just to make sure it doesn't fall out. So I bring that back again using my thumb, and you don't have to press too hard on that button to get it engaged. There we go. So that's in like this, and then I can go a couple turns on this, and that just gives you tension based on the tension of the spring that's in here. So it's not a direct push on here from the threads and the physics and the math and all that kind of crap. It's indirect I guess, sprung, so that it's from here, right? So now let's see if this falls out. So now I don't have any problem with this falling out. And there's a little patent in here and everything, you know, patent number. There's a patent number if you want to look up the patent for this. There it is there. Patent number. Patton was also a general in the United States Army, General Patton. So, and he named Patton's after General Patton, I think. So that's really good. And if I want to release this, I can press the button here. I think if I actually just press this button here, it will release it as well, because it's sprung like that. Will that release it too? That takes the pressure off of it. See that? Moves back and forth, so you can do this and put the watch back. So you don't have to adjust this at all. So that is pretty handy. Now if I were to loosen this up a little bit, right, and then just squeeze it in like I did before, one tick, so that's squeezed in there now, and I do like 1-2 turns on that. So I can hold it. It holds it with 2 turns. So now when I want to release it, there's very little pressure to release that. So I can do that and put that in again. That's squeezed in there nicely. So this Myers movement holder is about the best movement holder you can get. I saw it online. I went to a site called watchrepairtalk.com. You got to go on there and join. A gentleman named Mark runs it and has a business, and he runs this. He's a master watchmaker, and all kinds of guys on there that can give you help in fixing watches. So now, one thing I found that with this movement holder, the Myers movement holder, that it does hold the big pocket watch movements, but it's I think more meant for watches, even though it says any type of watch, pocket watch, whatever. But I found that when I've got the big insert in here, the big one, and you gotta have music for the big insert, like dun dun dun. That's the big insert music. Of course, I gotta insert it properly here. So just take my time, stop talking, put this in. There we go. So that's inserted. And if I have a big pocket watch here, and I want to put it on the bottom, I can, but if I want to put it on the top lip like this, it's going to hold the watch, the pocket watch, like that. And as I said before, if you look again at the physics of this, the basic geometry, and you take the point right here where the pressure would be if I were to press down, and the point right here where the pressure is if I were to press down there, and you take a toothpick that's sitting on your desk and you say, there's my line from those 2 points, then if I put pressure with a screwdriver right where that line is, then there's absolutely the same amount of pressure on those 2 points on either side. If I put pressure further out like that, it will tend to try to rotate this, but because there's so little leverage, right, by going this distance, and we all know that F equals ma, right, force equals mass times acceleration, but that has absolutely nothing to do with this. So F equals ma does not even count when you're talking about this. You're looking at force and distance, right? So if my force pushed here and the distance times the distance, right, that gives me the amount of force that's torquing on that, so my torque. So, and I know someone's going to call me up that's got some degree in torque and say, you're wrong, JD, you're wrong about all this torque stuff. But I am an engineer, and I did take engineering for many, many years, and I know that as you go out like this, you end up with actually more torque and more angular force at this position by going out further, right? And so if I was way out here and I pushed, that would be a problem if this was these were the only 2 points that were touching, right? It would flip. But because these jobby-doos, these little mouths, these little thingamajobbies, whatever they're called, movement holder inserts, are so wide, you can press on this point all day long, and that's not going to flip the watch because of the amount of weight on this side, right? Because it's forced down here, but there's a lot of weight on this side. Oh, know what that means? That means I've got to shut up and turn off the video. So that's that. So with these bigger movements, this thing is also a beauty. And again, I've got this in position here, a couple turns on that, and it should stay in position, right? And it also, when you're working on a pocket watch and you want to bring it sideways to poke in the sides to allow you to put wheels in place and use your favorite wheel in place poking tool, which is this one right here, and I want to get inside this pocket watch like that, inside the edges, just to nudge the wheels, right? So there's the wheels there, and I want to get in there to nudge the wheels. I can hold this device by the end here, by its handle, And I'm not going to interfere. I'm not going to open it at all, because this is not where the knob is for controlling that, right? The end, the knurled knob. So this can be held like this while you're working on this, which is really convenient. So when you have these things, you can't do that. It'll fall out. And when you have this one here, where you're holding it here, it's really uncomfortable. There's nothing to grab on that's got any mass. So this thing is also pretty heavy, got lots of mass. So you can grab onto that, get onto the edge, and be able to poke the, just slightly move the pivots on the end. The pivots on the end. I think the audio is going to be a little bit loud on this. I got to bring her down a bit. But the pivots on the end to get those little pivots in place where the jewels are. So sounds like I've had too much coffee this morning. So this is the Myers. Oh, let me take it out the cool way. This is the cool way of removing it. So you grab it like that, press down like this on the button, like that, and you can just lift up the movement. Look at that. Like that. So that is the Myers number 58. Myers move. Oh, it's time for me to shut up again. Myers number 58 movement holder. So if you have problems with your movements, call your doctor. No, actually, if you have a problem with your movement, use the Myers movement holder, and you'll be able to hold your movements. That doesn't sound too good, does it? Sounds like a medical issue. I don't recommend you hold your movements, okay? But in watchmaking, you need something to hold on to the movements to do work. So you throw all these little parts in there, close that lid down, a lot easier to close than it is to open, and you've got the world's best movement holder. So that's my nice little dissertation about the movement holder today, and I'd like you to enjoy this video, and if you don't, I'd like you to not enjoy the video. And if you want any more videos on watch equipment and how to use it, I made a video yesterday on how to shellac in a impulse jewel. So that was my video yesterday, which was a little bit of a job I had to do, and it worked out really well. But if you want any more information on the various types of tools that are used in watchmaking and watch repair, pretty much have them all. So let me know, and I'll make another video. And if you're curious, see if I can do this here. There's a picture of me in the corner. See this? Does this work? And I'm right there. There I am on a very vintage telephone. So there I am. Anyway, just in case you forget. The Myers movement holder. Thanks for watching, and I'll be posting more videos in the future. And please subscribe to my channel, and please, lots of comments. I love comments, and I love to give people help in watchmaking. That's how I learned how to do it myself. So don't be greedy and ask for questions. Don't be shy, and I won't be greedy. So let's talk again soon. The Myers movement holder number 58. 58. Myers. Movement. Holder. Number. 50, 58.